Alright, welcome back to episode 3 of the van build. If you saw the previous episodes, we installed an air conditioning unit and a roof rack to house our solar panels. And in today's video, we're going to get cracking on framing out the inside and getting ready to expand our electrical system, because since we have this 12 volt AC, this 100 amp hour battery that I have is not going to cut it. So we're going to be adding some solar, we're going to be adding some more battery power. But first, we got to get this inside ready. So I really want to focus on, let's just say, this and up today. So I'm going to be using 1/2 inch plywood for a majority of this frame job. I have pretty much a full sheet of 1/2 inch plywood right here. So this is going to go a long way. And then I got a couple more sheets of 1/2 inch plywood right here, some smaller ones that we can cut up. And then I got some 1/4 inch plywood right there. And then I got some 3/4 inch plywood. And then we got a table saw with a nice box to give us nice space. And we also have a full 8-foot 2x6. All right, so all we really need is our drill. We got some self-tapping screws, wood to metal. We got some liquid nail, project grade adhesive. So these are the cuts we're going to start with for our 1/2 inch. We're going to get 2 6-foot by 2.5 inch pieces. And then we're going to need 5 55 inch by 2.5 inch pieces for the roof. So we're going to start with this. We have a lot of 2.5 inch pieces that we're going to cut. So we're going to utilize this table saw. And as always, safety first. I also put some gloves on to prevent splinters. All right, we got our first 2 pieces cut. One of them came out a little bit messed up. We messed up a little bit because, you know, a table saw is hard to use if you don't have like the proper set, especially with just a big sheet of plywood. It's hard to just, once I cut this down now and do these next ones, it should be a lot easier, but with just a big one like that, it's pretty hard, but we got it done, no problem. I'm cutting out a 14.5 by 55 inch rectangle, so then I can just strip that down for the rest of the pieces that we need to use for the table saw, because it is just too hard to use with such a big piece of plywood. All right, it wasn't too bad. Well, cutting 1/2 inch plywood with a jigsaw, it's not the best. My arms are jittering right now. It's a good workout. I would typically use a circular saw for that type of cut, but like I said, my circular saw is donezo right now. So if you're curious, I just stacked 2x4s under the plywood to cut it. 2 2x4s high works with the jigsaw, 1 2x4 high with the circle saw. See, it's super easy when it's not just a big piece of plywood, but yeah, small pieces, or if you have a proper setup for it, it's so easy. Man, it's like the first time I really use this thing. It's amazing. These are all just perfect. All right, so now I'll show you where these pieces are gonna go. Hopefully I cut them right, because I already cut them all. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now, one thing about this Promaster is all of these roof things are level except for this one. This one's like the tiniest bit lower. So we're gonna have to probably use a 1/4 inch piece of plywood on this one so it's nice and flush all the way across the top at the end. So I'm gonna put all the other ones on, make sure they are flush, and then we'll think about this one. Here, we'll get these side pieces and then we'll get the roof, and then we got the 2x6 to go in between this. And then we'll just cut out some more 2.5 inch pieces to connect it, I think. I don't know yet, but we're just getting started. We're figuring it out as we go. I have been watching a ton of videos, you know, just kind of, I pretty much watched every video there is framing out of Ram Promaster. So I got a pretty good idea of how I'm gonna do this, but this is one of those things where I'm like a hands-on person. I really have to get in here and start doing it myself to really to really make a final decision on how I'm gonna do things. So I just discovered a little hack because I was thinking about how to make it easier to get these up there. And since there's these little holes on the sides, if you have a really small clamp, you can get it up in there and then clamp one side down so it's not gonna be moving anywhere or falling out. That's super pro tip. I'm stoked I just discovered that. It's gonna make this way easier. All right, we got the first 3 up. I ended up putting 5 screws in each, so 1 on the outside, 1 on the middle, 1 on the outside, and then 2 directly in the middle of those 3. All right, we got the side pieces in, got the roof in on the back. Man, so the back is pretty much, I'm pretty stoked on that. That is exactly what I wanted to do today. So now I'm probably gonna do one more right here. Yeah, this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Finally doing it. It's the first step. Yeah, a little message to everyone. Building a van is probably 90% planning and cutting and 10% screwing in. 10% building. No, the actual screwing in, that probably took me like 30 minutes. I probably could have done it a lot faster, but I was just, I'm just going slow, making sure I'm not messing it up, trying to keep it all as square as possible, and yeah. Yeah, so on this middle piece, we only have like a 1/4 inch of room, so I'm gonna cut out a 1/4 inch, 55 inch by 2.5 inch. All right, since I cut 5 of these 55 inch pieces, because I thought one was gonna go here, because I totally forgot that it was a little bit lower, I ended up just cutting that piece down to 4 feet, and it's gonna fit perfectly right here. So yeah, let's get this one in. I just put this one in, so man, I'm pretty stoked on the progress we made today though. This is a great start. We got the sides in, we got the roof back here in, got that one, got this one, and man, it's coming together. It's coming together. All right, it is the next day and we're ready to get back at it. Today we're gonna be cutting up this 2x6 with our miter saw and yeah, start to work on some more of that framing. I said yesterday I didn't get long enough screws because I just didn't think about the 2x6, so I went and picked up some number 12 2-inch self-tapping screws, wood. All right, that was wrong. We need 2 3/4 inch screws. Because once we get the 2x6s up, we're gonna be able to figure out what we need to do next. So I'm gonna start measuring some things out and making some cuts. 2 16-inch pieces, 2 15-inch pieces that we gotta cut out, and then 2 7-inch pieces. So we're gonna start with that. All right, we got two 16-inch pieces, two 15-inch, and two 7-inches. I am going to do a quick sand on the edges, just so I don't get any splinters in there. So we're going to do the same thing as yesterday. Just going to put this adhesive on the back side and then screw it in. Now, up here we got some big holes, so we're going to want to make sure that we don't miss those. A little pro tip for just doing this in general. When I put these up, I kind of forgot to mark exactly where to screw in, so it just took a little bit more time, but I just put some markings where this hole is, so I know to just go right under and right over that. All right, that one was much easier. So since there's these big holes, what I'm gonna do is just put this right here and then zip some lines down so I know that this middle part will be open. And same thing right there. I know the end will be open, and then I'm gonna mark on the sides. So now I'll know exactly where to drill in. All right, I can't find my drill bit to like pre-drill holes, so in some of these, this is just too hard to get it going. So I'm just gonna be screwing in screws with this super strong drill to kind of just and get some holes. All right, look at that. We are making some progress. Got all those up now. I am ready to put this one up, but as you can tell, my wires are running through here, so I'm gonna have to unhook my AC and get those wires out of there and reroute them. So, all right, so I was just doing some test fitting to see what we're gonna be doing for the next cuts. And right here, this is a really awkward piece that I might just cut out and square it up with this, because when the 2x4 is in there, it can't go past there. So I could either cut out a piece of the corner or just cut this thing off, which I think I might just do, because I want to put cabinets right here, and I kind of want to have them as deep as possible. So this would kind of make it really awkward and then lose some space right there. So I just had an epiphany while I was rerouting the cables for the air conditioner, and I'm actually going to leave this open for now because I still have to put my solar on and feed the wires through the roof, so I kind of need some of this space open to be able to work with. And this is right about the area where I'm probably going to pop them in, so I'm glad that I thought about that right now, because I was about to screw that piece up. So we're just going to leave this off for now. So I pretty much just rerouted the cables for nothing. So, well, shoot, now I kind of want to just not put these pieces in now until I get my electrical squared away. Oh man, I'm gonna think about it for a second. It's all right, we didn't put too many up, so it's not like we're like totally can't access it. All right, yeah, I just pulled this one up. If you're curious what these holes look like from the self-tapper, that is a nice hole. That's nice. All right, so now I've kind of hit a point where I want to stop making cuts and screwing stuff together, and I want to start planning how I'm going to go about the rest of this inside, because like I said, I'm a hands-on person. There's so much planning I can do before I have to get in there and just see with my hands how everything is coming together so I can make my decisions moving forward. So that is where I'm at right now. We have a really great start. This is exactly what I was hoping. We got a great framing. So now I have to figure out how I'm going to bring the walls down, you know, and really start to connect everything together. And yeah, so this is when the fun starts. This is where it gets pretty tricky, where you gotta make sure that you make your cuts very nicely and spot on. Because even 1/8 of an inch can be disastrous when you're making these type of cuts. So I think the rest of today, I'm just gonna get a game plan for how we're gonna approach the rest of this framing out, because like I want to be planning, you know, I know I'm gonna be planning where I'm gonna be putting things. I know I'm gonna have my like a kitchen area right here, so I'm just kind of thinking of how the best way to frame this part out is going to be for that, now that I have a little bit of wood down. And then over here, I know I'm going to mount my TV, so I'm going to have a really nice strong mounting point over here. And then for the bed area, configuring how I'm going to do the walls, because I don't want to do them both straight down, because then I will not be able to fit all the way, because I'm like 5'10", and pretty much from this pillar to this pillar is like, it's like 5'10" or 6 feet. So it just like when I'm laying in bed, I can fully stretch out, but if I cut off 2 inches on each side, then I would be not able to stretch out with my pillows. If I didn't have pillows, I would be able to, but you know, when you have your pillows and you're laying on them, pillows take up a couple inches. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make this wall flat, you know, nice and flush, because when you're sitting in bed, you want to be able to lean back on a nice flat flush wall. And then over here, I'm gonna try to leave it, I'm gonna try to just put it as far as possible for like the bed cutout area. So yeah, that's kind of where my thoughts are at right now. This is the reality of building a van. A lot of videos out there that you see and then that I watch, they make it look so easy, man, and it's like, it's really not, unless you know exactly what you're doing and you have everything that you need and you have full game and you've done it a million times, and you know, it probably is not too hard. But for someone like me, who this is the first time that I'm framing out a van and really building a van. So, you know, I've done basic stuff before, but this is pretty basic what I've done. But now we're really getting into it, because it has to all work as one in the end. So, alrighty. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling on this one, but just taking you guys the reality of building a van. So probably see you guys tomorrow. All right, it is day 3 of framing out the van. And you know, like you've seen the past 2 days, we got a lot of the studs in, and then yesterday I was doing the 2x6s and then quickly realized I needed to stop doing that because I was covering up where my wires are gonna come in. So put a pause on that. And then today we're gonna focus on this wall right here. I have an idea of how we're gonna make it nice and flush wall that is straight up and down right here for our kitchen area. So that is what we're gonna get working on today. So this piece right here is actually going to fit perfectly where I want to put it. I was like thinking, all right, I need a 4 foot by 29.5 inch piece, and I measured this up and it is very close. I think we're just gonna have to rip off an inch or so, but it is gonna fit perfectly. I'm a little bit sad to take this thing down, my little foldable wall table, but I've had it for about 2 years, and I'll be honest, I've only used it like 5 times, so it'll be nice to just get rid of it, build something else right here. All right, so I figured out a 6 solution that's gonna work perfect. So I cut a 2x4 to 25.5 and exposed this beam, and it's gonna fit perfectly in here. But not only does it fit perfectly, I'm gonna be putting a 1/4 inch piece of plywood right here. And how this is set up, it is going to be perfectly flush with this 1/2 inch sheet down here. So I'm gonna have a nice straight wall going all the way up, and it's not perfectly flush up here, which I'm not worried about because I'm going to be putting cabinets here anyways, but super stoked I'm going to have a nice straight up and down wall. That is what I love about the Promaster. All right, now I'm just going to place the 2x4 next to it so I can put some marks on where we're going to be drilling in. Or where there is available space. I'm probably not going to put that many, but All right, that is good. So I'm going to be just mounting my 1/4 inch on this and on this metal part. Well, on this metal part, and then on this. Well, shoot, actually, I got to figure out how I'm going to mount it up here now. All right, and we found our perfect solution. This 1/2 inch piece. When I push it up against that metal, it fits flush with the 2x4. So I'll just be able to mount this up there, and then I can screw into this to mount the 1/4 inch sheet of plywood that we're going to be putting here. All right, I'm going to use our self tappers to get this piece in here. All right, just did the same thing on the other side. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 points of mounting. So we could be getting this sheet of 1/4 inch plywood all mounted up. Now you might be thinking, oh, Shane, you're not gonna have any supports behind it. Well, I'm not really gonna be drilling in and having stuff hanging from the wall right here. So I'm not worried about it. All right, we got it in. We officially have our first wall. All right, well, shoot. So now I really wanted to get this piece just up. So now I can take this piece off because this is what I'm going to be mounting all my electrical on. So I'm going to be planning out where I'm going to be putting it. And then this is going to be like a nice kitchen area right here to work on. So, all right, so before we go any further in this build, I want to let you guys know, you might be asking yourself, Shane, are you going to be staining this? Are you sanding it? Are you going to be, making it really nice? And the short answer is no, because some things have developed since I started this build that is really changing the course of the next couple months for me. I originally thought when I started this, when I put the 12-volt AC on, I thought I didn't have anything planned these next couple months. But that has changed. I don't know if I'm able to say anything about it right now. I think by the time this video is out, the information should be out there. But pretty much I'm going to be in October. So, it's like 2 months away, but in September, we're going to have to train for a whole month. Because if you don't know what that is, we're pretty much going into the Virgin Utah mountains. So in September, I'm going to be staying in the van at my buddy's house training. So I thought I had, a couple months to really just take it slow and do a super nice job with everything. But plans have changed, and now I pretty much have a couple weeks to get this thing livable so I can go start training for Red Bull. So I still plan on doing a really nice job in here, but for right now, we just have to get it. We're gonna just get the solar system up, or get the solar panels up, redo our electrical, and then I'm gonna do a lot of work in here, but I just can't do the stuff that takes a lot of time. Like, I just have to pretty much get it livable, so. But I do have a lot of time to do a lot of things, but I'm just kind of throwing this all in here for now, so. And also, it's my first time really framing out a van, so I want to get some experience because it's super important to just start small, not to just go in over your head thinking you're going to build the nicest van ever on your first go, because that is just not going to happen. So it is a learning process, just like anything in life. So, but I am super happy with the progress that I've made and the stuff that I've learned along the way. Because when I first got this van about a year ago, I really didn't know what I was going to be doing in here. And flash forward to now, I have a pretty good idea of what I want to do and how I'm going to do it, but it just takes time. Because if I was in a perfect scenario where I had unlimited amount of money, unlimited amount of time, and like a big shop to be doing stuff, I could probably, I could build a really nice van not really quickly, but that would still take a couple months probably if you have all of that, maybe like a month. But you'd have to have a really solid game plan as well. But yeah, this is the reality of building a van from an average guy who just has a regular life and he just likes to have fun on the weekends building his van. So, all right. So now I got to figure out the next steps, and then we're gonna go from here. But yeah, super stoked on what we got so far. And also a quick side note, I'm trying to get these videos out, once a week every Friday. So this one should be out on the 8th of August. But, you know, trying to build the van, film the videos, and work. And now that I got going on, every day's just kind of been, I've been up at like 6 a.m. and then going hard until like 10 p.m. and then just going to sleep and redoing it. So these videos, it's a little bit hard to balance it all, but we're making it work. We're making it work. So with that being said, you know, I'm trying to make these videos as best as I can, but it's just, it takes a lot of time to like really edit videos and make them like, you know, put text on screen and like transitions and stuff. So I'm trying to do the best that I can with the time that I have. So, all right, so I'm just planning out the kitchen build, super rough drawing, just so I can see the dimensions to go right there. And dude, this piece of plywood is perfect. Check it out. I need a 4 foot by 2 foot piece of 1/2 inch, and this is a 4 foot by 2 foot piece 1/2 inch. So all we got to do is cut some 2x4s now and make this work. But in order to do that, I think I need to go to Home Depot and get some supplies. So I might just wrap it up for today. It's Saturday. It's already like 1 o'clock. I've been going at this since 9 already. So